I think if you look back at 2022 for the Miami Dolphins, it's probably fair to say it was a somewhat successful mixed bag overall. Like when you go after 2021 and the firing of Brian Flores, and I was pretty harsh on that team for not only should Brian Flores have been fired, but general manager Chris Grier should have been shown the door too. Somehow, someway, Chris Grier, the general manager, was able to stay put. He got a chance to hire a third head coach, and felt like he got it right by hiring Mike McDaniel away from the 49ers. I'm a Mike McDaniel guy. I took a look at him and like, this dude's so weird and kind of like just different in a good way that's really, really hard to describe. So the anti-Brian Flores, where Flores was just a dumb dick. Like, stop it, folks. He was just a dumb dick. And you think about, they go and you make the big splashy trade for Tyreek Hill. That pairing now with him and Jalen Waddle certainly was a successful pairing in 2022. Like, you're talking about a team here that has two dynamic electric speed options in their wide receiving core, which when you're trying to develop and bring along a young quarterback such as Tua Tagovailoa, that's what you got to do, right? Give them help. The name of the game is offense first and foremost, not the goddamn defense. And then you had the kind of off and on concussion saga with Tua Tagovailoa. You know, we're not even going to get into Tuanon. Man, I'll tell you what. I don't know which fan base is more rabid in their delusions around their quarterback, if it's the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields, or if it's Miami Dolphins with Tua. But here's the deal. Like, you had this situation, multiple concussions, like basically the back-to-back concussions, if you will. Like, yikes. Not going well, not exactly how you would want this season to play out, right? You throw in there a big midseason trade to bring in Bradley Chubb to give them an impact edge rusher. And after everything, big trades, Tua's off the field and on the field, off the field and on the field due to the concussions, they still found a way to make the playoffs. And they didn't totally get steamrolled in the playoffs, which was somewhat impressive in and of itself. So the Dolphins are kind of in that place where they certainly made some progress, did some good things last year, but you wonder, like, where are they going to find the ability to take that next step? A big piece of that, obviously, is going to be Tua staying healthy. No matter what Tuanon thinks on NFL Twitter, he's not a super stud, but he is a guy that you put him in a good spot, you protect him with those weapons that he has, he can hit the open guy. And that could go a long ways, right? Like, the Dolphins can put up a lot of points with the offensive talent that they have. But now you come into an offseason with limited free agent money to spend, no first-round pick due to a couple of different factors. You have the Tom Brady, Sean Payton tampering. It sucks if you're the Dolphins to basically lose a first-round pick for nothing. I mean, I could understand why you were maybe trying to tamper for Tom Brady and Sean Payton. Maybe. But if you're going to do it, go all the way and make sure you fucking get it. Because they had to forfeit a first-round pick for nothing. And then the first-round pick that they did have from the Miami Dolphins a couple years back, from trading back like they did, so the 49ers could ultimately take Trey Lance, that was invested in the Bradley Chubb deal. And he had, 2.5 sacks in 8 games. So it's about the long-term play. They trade for him. They give him a big extension. At this time, at least, probably feels like it was worth a first-round pick for them. He's going to have to play like a double-digit sack guy. He's going to have to be a stud edge rusher for them in 2023, though. So with day 2, when you look at the Dolphins in this draft, there's no first-round pick. You only have a couple of picks here, so you want to make sure you hit on them, right? Especially those day 2 picks, because those can still be starters. Those can still be guys that come in and contribute right away. And I look at their second-round selection of Cam Smith. I think he'll be a starting corner pretty quickly. Maybe year 1, perhaps. That's not bad, right? If you figure you invest in your first-round pick of Bradley Chubb, and he ends up being like a double-digit sack guy for you. Now your second-round pick brings you a starting corner. Not bad. That's decent. And then you look at Achane in the 3rd round. to me, like, he is a perfect back for Miami in their system. When you look at him and the speed that he brings to the table, Miami's not looking for a bell cow feature back, if you will. They could kind of rotate their way through that, do a bit of a committee there. But what they need is another guy with speed. And by God, do they have that speed in their fucking backfield now with Achane. You know, this is a sub 4.4 guy. You've got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle outside at wide receiver. You've got Achane in the backfield. You basically got a freaking 4x1 team in terms of your offensive skill players, which is what you should want, right? You should be looking at your freaking backfield and your receivers should make up a 4x1 team. And that's what the hell they've got here. So I really like that pick of, as solid as I thought the Cam Smith pick was in round 2, I really, really like that Achane pick in day 3 because his speed out of the backfield can take the wheels off of a defense, if you will, and could fit really, really nicely there and give some opposing defenses some real problems. So really like what they did in day 2. In terms of day 3, you got to mind yourself, like, this year's 4th round pick was part of the Tyreek Hill trade package. The 5th round pick was traded to the 49ers last year for Jeff Wilson. So, you know, you got a couple of picks that you invested in other players. In terms of selecting Elijah Higgins, I think he could be a passing down tight end, probably a practice squad candidate. I don't know about him as a wide receiver at the NFL level. We'll see. But I think there is some upside there. And bulk him up just a little bit more and let him be kind of like that Gesicki replacement as kind of like your athletic tight end. They can stash and develop Ryan Hayes. Offensive line needs some depth, needs some young talent that they can actually develop. We'll see if they actually develop or not. But, you know, not a ton of help likely to come out of day 3. But, you know, when I talk about the Dolphins in this year's draft, there wasn't a ton here to begin with, right? The first rounder's already gone due to the tampering plus the Bradley Chubb trade. You know, there's not a lot there. I mean, let's be real. But if you come out of this draft still with Cam Smith as a starter for a number of years, Achane gives you kind of that speed element, that weapon, that playmaker out of the backfield that you lack, then this draft wasn't so bad for the Dolphins ultimately. And even then, let's say they got no contribution out of this draft class at all, or if all 4 of these guys somehow ended up being future starters, it still comes down to whether or not Tua can stay healthy. Whether he can avoid getting his bell rocked, whether he can avoid getting some other type of injury, that's all that matters. And when you look at the Dolphins and we get ready to start thinking about the 2023 season, that's what it comes down to. If Tua stays healthy, they could be a double-digit win team, playoff team, maybe make a little noise, maybe make a little. But if Tua goes down, forget it. None of this other shit matters.